Hey everyone, welcome back. Today I want to explain to you how that beautiful smile you've always wanted just may not be able to be possible with Invisalign alone. You want to hear more about this? Then let's get started. So I know that's a shocker because anyone who knows me, I am a huge fan of Invisalign. I've been doing Invisalign for over 10 years, absolutely love it, couldn't say enough good about Invisalign. But as a cosmetic dentist and as someone who understands, comprehensive restorative and looking at the entire mouth, all the things that we need to look at in order to give you that most beautiful smile that really complements your face and suits you and makes you feel wonderful, sometimes there's things that have happened to the teeth and things that we need to consider in addition to Invisalign. So I want to explain that more right now. So one of the best ways I have utilized my ability to educate very quickly, very clearly, patients really understand, they can see it, they believe it, is with the use of my iTero element. We have 4 iTero elements in the clinic and we are constantly using them to educate our patients. There's certain tools with this iTero that we really are able to utilize depending on the situation, but in every Invisalign consult or any consultation or even an exam where the patient's just not aware, we use a lot of the things and tools here to help explain things. And so some of the examples I'm going to be using are showing you some of those tools as well. So a very simple thing that a lot of patients want is they want brighter teeth, whiter teeth. And often, doing that with whitening system really helps. We'll include the whitening system as part of the end part of your package with your Invisalign, and we do that here at Peggy, Bown Dentistry. But we also realize that when teeth are hidden in behind, other teeth, and they're not all out in the light that's hitting our face, then alignment really helps with creating more of an even result. So it's important to think of whitening and brightening as not, just having your teeth whitened, but also to have them aligned, and just when you combine the two, you get that nice whiter, brighter smile. Okay, so we have a patient presented. She was having a problem. She had a lot of repairs done to this upper central, and she knew that she was doing some chipping and wearing her lower teeth. I'm going to show you how we showed her that. That was because we used what's called the occlusogram. And when you look at the occlusogram, the red here, as you can see, shows the most heavy contact points. Now we know more heavy contact points should be in the posterior teeth, back teeth, but here on the front, she was really hitting. So if I take off do the natural color and we show it just like that, you can really see it. If I take that off, you can really see where there was some wear happening to her lower front teeth. Now if we look at the upper jaw and we take away the lower jaw, again, she had to have this tooth repaired a few times, and it doesn't look like a bad arch form, but you can really see how these teeth have tipped in. So if we look at both arches together, this is what we would call a deep bite. She was also getting what we call abfraction lesions or recession in this area. So there's a lot of clenching and grinding and trauma that was happening to the teeth. So what we did is we said, look, I really want to give you a new tooth here, and let's put it in color so you can see. You see it was dark. I wanted to do a nice new restoration, but I just felt that until I improved the bite and improved the room for the restoration, I wouldn't be able to confidently say that she wouldn't be continuing to chip it and break it. So I said, why don't we do Invisalign first? Your teeth are very narrow, very square. We may even open up some spaces and actually do more than one tooth on the front because that will give us a nicer smile. I found another example this example is different, but as I mentioned in the previous example where the patient wanted a restoration but needed Invisalign first, this patient came in, knew he had lower incisor crowding. I'm going to show you what that looks like from above. So you can really see it here. It's a lot of crowding, like particularly one tooth in the front, which is quite crowded. And when I do the simulator, and this is what I love about doing the simulation during a consult, because I can predict then if the patient is going to have black triangles. Now, black triangles, for anyone who's not aware, is just this unsightly gap that happens at the base by the gum tissue, not up by the top of the tooth, but down at the gum tissue after teeth are a little bit older. Usually it doesn't happen in young people, but older we get, the more prone we get to it because we lose a little bit more bone. But particularly once we've had teeth that were crisscrossed like this, now we straighten them, okay? And you can see between my hands, there's like this gap here. So they were crossed over, they're crowded, no black triangle, straighten them up, and now we've got sort of this space in here, okay? So we see that every time on the simulator, and I use the simulator for that reason. There we go. Okay, so we look here and we see the crowding. And when I do the simulation, the first thing the patient notices is like, oh great, it looks straighter. But what is that? And then it's like the perfect segue into explaining, well, that is because there's two things can't occupy the same space. You have teeth that have been overlapped so long that the bone under here did not get a chance to really fulfill its space. So when we unravel the teeth, we also reveal the fact that there's no bone there. So it's not that you lost any bone per se, just didn't have the time or didn't really grow in that area. So now we have this gap. So this is the perfect example now where I can say, look, the teeth are straight, right? We've made a nice straight arch. But when we're done, you may not like that. And that may, cause a little bit of, visually it may not like it. It may get a little bit more tartar in there because it's a little gap, you may not like it. So we have a way to solve that, but it's going to be through a restoration or a filling material or aesthetic filling material at the end of your Invisalign. So this way, I'm preparing the patient, I'm kind of managing your expectations and helping you understand that yes, we can have all straight teeth, but some things, some damage, some problems are been associated with crowding that you've had for so long. So you may have to have some restorations. Now, another thing that you may notice, it's very minor in this case, but this patient also has a little bit of, I'm trying to make sure you can see it, a little bit of unevenness to the upper edges. Now that's partly because these teeth have been sticking out and crowded for so long, and when we look at the original bite, it was a lot of hard hitting of that bite there. Now if we look at occlusion, we'll expose it. I just want to show you can see the green dots here. You can see there was some damage or some heavy forces. When we go to what's ideal, we don't have any contact in the very front, and that's giving us a nice overjet that we need. So that's also the opportunity to say, look, we can, let me take that off again. Okay. Just go to the lower. There we go. So we may also have to, when we fix the black triangle, we may also repair that uneven edge. That edge may also have a little bit of yellow in it. If the top part of the enamel is worn off, it may look a little bit yellow. So people generally want restorations after. And the difference between, I think, a cosmetic dentist and an orthodontist is that at the end, we're going to also do those finishing things. So we're going to certainly be aware of this because we're used to seeing this. This happens all the time. But we're also going to be able to do the restorations, fill in any black triangles, correct edges, even things out, the little fine touches with restorative that then before you get your final retainers. So you're getting the whole package. And what we're working on right now at Peggy, Bown Dentistry is actually creating packages where when we know you need restorative as well, you kind of you fall into that certain little package. So the next thing I'm going to show you is a case that was combination of restorative and Invisalign. And really, we didn't realize how dramatic this was going to be. I'm going to show you the final result in the end, but I'm going to show you this case with what we call the time lapse, and it shows us in like a back and forth image from like the day the patient started to their final restorative. So this is actually, we already done the case now and we can look backwards and we can see the improvements. And we're going to toggle back and forth between two different dates, and we're going to, because we took a scan when she was done the restorative and the Invisalign for her retainers, and then we took a scan, of course, when we originally started. So I'm going to pull that up now, and this is it. And it looks really funny because you see a lot of the red, and that's because that's where we made the most changes. So you can see there was a lot of changes to the very front teeth. When we look here, again, try not to get sort of tied down in that. I can kind of take it back so that it's just the teeth, and so that it doesn't look too yucky. But what we do is you can see over here. So I hope you can see this. But you can see, for example, this lateral was really tucked inside, and I can do it this way for you. So you can really see how far back that tooth was and how far labial we brought it. But then once we brought it labially, she felt that her laterals were too small. So we actually built them up so that you can really see here, it was this little lateral, and then when he brought it forward, then we built it out and we created like a veneer on it. Now another side, same thing was done over here with this lateral. Again, you can see it's very small, and then when we brought it forward, we made it nice and full and made it full size to suit her, because again, not everybody, sometimes we're born with our teeth are one way, our face is another, but the teeth, sometimes the shapes don't really kind of reflect or complement the face like they should. Now the other thing was her main complaint, I do want to point this out, it really came up well in the what we call the time lapse here on the iTero, and that is this. So I want you to see here how sharp and pointy her canines were. So they have like a little scooped out effect on the inside, and that made them look really pointy and sharp. So we brought them forward, we rotated them to a nice alignment where the canine should be, and then we actually built out, or I built out, and I can show you again, if I show you the red, in this red area where I built out. So I gave her some what I call canine guidance or good function on her canines, and that was also done on the other side as well. So you can really see the canine was really scooped out in the back and it looked pointy, and then by bringing the tooth into alignment and then filling in that kind of scooped out area, it made the canines look nice and round or full, but no longer pointy, and without filing them down. I think sometimes that's what dentists have done in the past, is just sort of, oh, your canines are pointy, let's just like kind of file them down a little bit. I mean, we will round out canines, but we want to have that full nice contact when you do bite so that you have some guidance for your jaw when you're chewing. If we go back, again, you can go out of that, then you can go into the viewer and you can just look at the whole case. So this allows me to, again, make sure that everything's where we want it, and then we do our final photos, and you can see the final photos in this case. I really hope that helped explain some of the ways that Invisalign may just not give you everything you're looking for in that smile. I think that's one of the things that makes our clinic special, is that we are able to provide you that comprehensive big picture as to what we can do and how, what you need based on some of the tools that we use and just our experience with doing what we call, cosmetic dentistry or bonding, veneers, things like that. Another big part of what we also do is digital smile design. I didn't go into that today. There's another video about that, but check that out, because that's another tool that I use to help my patients visualize what the potential is of them both having, Invisalign straight teeth, but then some of the other things they need after, especially for patients if you think you need veneers, but you have a lot of crowding. Digital smile design would be another great way that we could use to illustrate that for you. So anyway, I thank you for watching, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below, and definitely like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you.